Hey guys, in the decoders of truth, I'm presuming that we're live because the interface sometimes here with Zoom is crazy, but I think we're live. You'll probably hear the audio. I'm right. I'm here today with Heidi Vandenberg. As a lot of you guys know who saw the earlier post today, Heidi and I are going to talk about some amazing stuff, but Heidi is a Vedic life coach. She's like an empath, a spiritual intuit. She has an amazing YouTube channel. It's channel 27. And we're going to talk a lot about like where you guys can find her. I mean, obviously I posted in the group today, but Heidi, man, thank you so much for coming on today. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for inviting me on your Facebook Live. It's exciting. So I've been watching you. You were actually the first person I saw in the Leak Project with Rex. So it's interesting. Now a year later, we're sitting here talking.
I know that is kind of amazing.
Small world.
Well, there's no synchronicities and there's no coincidence. I mean, there's plenty of synchronicities and never a coincidence, as you and I know, right?
Right. That's for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so cool. So before we jump in and start talking about all the amazing things that you and I are going to talk about, obviously I want you to talk a little bit about your background, how you got to where you are here today. And again, feel free to share. There's a lot of people already watching in the group.
Okay. Well, and you can probably appreciate this story a little bit. So I've been selling homes since 2009, new construction. So, and I was put in a community that was all Indians from India. Okay.
Wow.
And I had to learn, and I have never sold homes to anybody that was from different ethnicity. It just didn't happen. So I had to learn feng shui. I had to learn Vatsu because they wouldn't buy a house if the front door wasn't facing a certain way. So I get this book on Vatsu and I'm reading it and I'm reading all the directions, trying to understand what's going on. And I see it's talking about astrology. So it's like Indian astrology, and I'm Googling it, looking into it, because I never was a big astrology fan because I would read Virgo. I'd be like, oh, that you could say that about everybody. I would be like, I was one of those people.
Right.
So I Google Indian astrology. I found my birth certificate, got my time. It was like, you're a Scorpio rising, you're a Pisces moon, you're a Leo sun. I was like, what is this? So I Googled this. I was sold, been studying it ever since. And that's kind of how there's a really long story on my YouTube channel. You can go check that one out, but to make it brief, and that's really how it happened. And I've studied it probably, and I've been using it in the business world. Like I couldn't control myself. Anytime I meet somebody, I'm like, do you know what time you're born? Do you know what time you're born? And I mean, I've learned so much from just analyzing people in the business world, realtors, loan officers that I've worked with, clients that I'm sitting there, I have rapport with, boom, I bring out the astrology charts sometimes. Like it's been a great tool for selling homes too. So
awesome. So I'm posting a link to your YouTube channel here. Hopefully it actually works. It looks like it's gonna hopefully it'll work. It didn't work. Yep, there it is. Okay, cool. Sometimes YouTube puts all that code in there. So cool. So as far as like everything else, are you married? Do you have kids? Anything like that?
well, that's a whole nother side of this. So, when I think you find astrology when shit tends to hit the fan. Okay.
Absolutely.
So I went through a lot of things. Like I was engaged once, left him. I've always had issues in relationships. It's been my number one problem in my life. And I would have that, like I would either get sick of the person or would just be with the wrong person. I've always had these problems. So when I found my chart and understood what was going on in my life about me, who I was, what was wrong with me, and I found that through my chart, because you can go to every psychologist, any psychologist, anybody, and they can tell you whatever you want to hear, but really there was no answers. Like even with religion, because I was really religious when I was young, big Christian, used to get saved every day, and but I couldn't understand why so many things happened, like to my brother who was handicapped, and what why that he was put in that place, and why this happened to my family. And the whole Jesus thing was kind of like one of those things where it just didn't make sense to me.
Right.
So when I found this, and then I got into the whole Hindu thing, it's more like Buddhism. I call it Heidiism. It's my way. That's how I believe. Because I believe in God. I believe in a higher power. But
of course,
I've learned so much because of astrology, and this is the facts. Like it's all in your life path. It's all there. So when I've learned I've learned certain patterns, certain traits of myself that, I've learned who I'm compatible with and who I'm not. So Indians arrange marriages through this. I mean, and I know that sounds kind of funny, but there's certain things that I know that will work and certain things that I know that won't work. And you can learn a lot. So no kids, not married. Yeah.
Have you read the Bhagavad Gita?
I have parts of it, and a lot of like a lot of it is interpreted through astrology, in this astrology, for sure.
So I'm actually, and we're going to go a lot of different directions here. So guys, again, if you're watching in the Decoders of Truth, and we have a pretty good sized group here, we appreciate it. At the very end of this podcast, I'm going to save some time for Heidi to answer questions. There's a lot of cool stuff to talk about. As we know, there's an amazing, I don't know how to describe it. I guess kind of the war for our souls is absolutely mind-blowingly going on around us right now in so many different ways. If you're aware, you're very conscious of it. If you're not aware and you're asleep, well, it's our job to make you aware of it, and we will today. But I just wanted to say, I completely just lost my train of thought on where I was going with that. But I wanted to say that there's a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about today. But very specifically, I wanted to start with what happened last night. And as you know, Rex and Jeff and myself did a podcast, and we talked about, current events and stuff like that. And our first topic was what happened in Hawaii. And now I remember what I was going to say to you about the birth order stuff. Let me just skip back to that. I'll get to that in a second. But I don't know. I know you've asked for me and my wife's time of birth. And honestly, my mom had freaking 10 kids. So she doesn't remember. That was the second.
Yeah.
Monica doesn't. Monica's mom is dead, unfortunately. God rest her soul. But so we don't know. So obviously we have the birth dates. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But that's where I was going with that. But so why do you think that's so important, birth dates?
So because I don't know why it works. I'm not a scientist. I'm not an astronomer. And all I can say is that the proof is I've done over 3,000, 4,000 charts and it never fails. I mean, the way that if I can give I can still even do stuff. Like I can still kind of give a reading a little bit, a partial reading. Like I can tell you about your personality just with your date of birth, because there's a way to read your chart from the moon if you don't have your time. So there is ways but it's not going to, if you want to know, like when you're going to sell a house, okay, I know the exact days I'm going to sell houses, the exact conjunctions, the exact months. So that's how you can use this to such a benefit. Once you get over all your demons, you learn about yourself. Once you hear all the negative stuff that you have to change and you have to fix, and these patterns that you can improve, then you can take astrology and use it for the positive, like how you can really make yourself a better person. And how you can manifest things at better times, that like when you're going to write a book, when you're going to publish it, the best day you could publish it, the best day, my software does all that stuff with you, but you have to have the time. So
that's awesome. So manifestation is very real. I don't know why I went like different directions, but I've been reading these 4 books and I sent them to Jeff. And it's by Peter Moon and this guy, and they're all pen names. Peter Moon's an actual author, but Radu Sedamar is a guy from Romania. And the 4 books are all about the ancient builder race / the blue race. And obviously the blue race has symbolism and reference to you, talking about the Vedics, because, Krishna and all of their great spiritual gurus were supposedly a skin tingent color of blue. And whenever they show pictures of them, you can watch Ancient Aliens or whatever. But if you read any of these books, they always have these like spiritual beings from that part of the world as like this blue color. Do you have any idea why, like what is the symbolism, or why are they blue? Do you have any idea about that?
No, I don't. Because like this one right here, Ganesh, okay, who's the remover, gets rid of the obstacles. He's not blue, but there are some pictures where he is blue,
Right.
So I've seen it both ways. I don't know the reason for the coloring or why. I really don't. And
the speculation in the books that I'm reading, and obviously to go back to the Bhagavad Gita and all of those books, excuse me, they're from Mars. And they're the original race. And, when Mars was uninhabitable, they came to Earth and blah, blah, blah. But for whatever reason, for the sun, or for, I guess, probably gravitational reasons, they have skin color of blue. And they were also obviously much taller. And again, you can go back and watch Ancient Aliens, and they talk about the stone architects and all the stuff that's in Pakistan and India. And then they also, they talk about the segment, the caste system, and why, like, as you said, you're born poor, then you stay poor. And if you're born wealthy, you're born wealthy. And it's obviously there's karmic debts, right? And that's the reason that is through karma and stuff like that. And we don't have to stay there, because I do want to transition to some of the other stuff. But like, what do you think is the most fascinating? I mean, everything you just told me about is fascinating about your background as far as like working with Indian people. But why do you think, how did that happen to you? I mean, clearly, so you've gone back and like examined a lot of your past lives?
Well, no, see, because I would say before this, I really wasn't a very like spiritual individual.
Mhm.
Like I was just out of fear. Okay. It
Sure.
was all out of fear, like going to hell. That was my religion.
That's Christianity, right?
Yeah, there you go. So that's how I was brought up because I went to Christian schools because I wanted to. It's not nobody asked, nobody forced it down my throat. It's I wanted to know the facts. I want to know what happened when you die. I want to know where you were going. I was on my best behavior. I got saved every day just to be safe. And then when I found the whole Hinduism thing, it was fascinating to me. I've never understood. I never understood reincarnation. I didn't really know much about it. And then it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Like do some bad stuff, you have to figure it out. Your karma is there. So yeah, you can kind of see like what your problems are in your chart. Absolutely. I mean, but to the exact degree, mine's relationships. Mine is that's my karma. It's in my I have the nodes in my first and seventh house. So you can see where these planet alignments are there. But it's really just to me personally, you made a point when you were talking with Jeff one day and you said, when you are not scared to die, everything changes.
Right.
And I can tell you that I 100% know that is 100% accurate too. Because now I could go outside, get hit by a bus, and I know I'm going to a better place and I don't care. So once you can know and that's what the whole Hinduism thing did for me,
And so I'm glad you said that. And I got a lot of things I want to go. We'll try to keep this in 90 minutes or so we can have them talk and stuff like that. And obviously, you can do a reading of me or Monica or whoever, but that is absolutely key, Heidi. And I mentor a lot of young guys, and there's probably a bunch of them watching right now, but I always tell them that there's only two things in life, right? There's two central emotions. There's either fear and love. Okay. And if you can grade everything that happens to you in your life, terrible text messages, bad emails, a thought that comes into your head that is, negative, any of those things, if you could just again, become the observer in your life from an outside perspective and look at that as, okay, is it fear or love? And if it's fear, you literally tell it to F off, instantaneously, I'm not going to listen to you, because that's your ego normally, right? I mean, ego and fear is the same thing. It connotates. Whereas with love, that's what you focus on. If it's a loving thought, if it's a loving idea, if it's a service to others type thing, then that's again how you focus. And I truly do believe this. And I know we're in a very dark time in this world right now with all these demonic and dark forces and stuff like that attacking, and they're everywhere, right? Like I can tell you this, and we're going to go to that in a second. When I came home last night, after spreading all that great stuff across the world, and we had 2,500, I think 1,800 to 2,000 people watching us live, I got psychically attacked. I went to dinner with my wife and my kids, and Monica said something to me at dinner, and I got all offended and butthurt. And when I came home, I said something to her. I confronted her over it, and she blew up too. And I'm like, whoa, and again, when I look back on it after what I'm going to get to my story, I know that that's what happened. And it's there's an equal and counter reaction, right? So when you do a great thing for the world, especially in a lot of us in the truth movement, and we're making people more aware, that, the dark forces do not want people aware, right? They want us to sleep. So there's no question that karmically you're going to face an attack. It's just how you identify it. So I didn't even identify it until late last night. Monica went to bed mad at me, and I hate that. And it wasn't until I saw something last night, and I'm going to get to that right now, and that's the perfect seed, to get me to realize that it was a psionic attack, that I was literally being bombarded by, some sort of negative energy. And that's what made me think the way that it was. And then when her and I talked this morning, she also agreed that, we probably both were dealing with it. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you believe that every day, everywhere we go, if you're not prepared spiritually, that you can be attacked?
Yes, I do. And I do also believe that you can block it out as well. So I believe certain people are more prone to take that it's in their chart. Okay, everything's in the chart. So that's going to be my answer for everything, but it is. And it's funny you just say that, because I'm pretty sure, I'm almost 100% sure that your wife, both you and your wife, have the same moon sign. So both of you you'll notice this, you're going to go through triggers at the same time. Okay, because your moon is the most important thing that's controlling your emotions. Okay. I'm pretty sure you have moon conjunct a few other planets too, which makes you very psychic, very spiritual, very wanting to know the truth, and it's in Aquarius.
Yes.
And you want to know the facts, and you want to get to the details, and you do want to help and save the world. It's a humanitarian sign that it's in. And your wife is the same exact way. And but your chart, you guys have like very similar charts. It's kind of weird.
Wow.
What happens is, so you're going to both get affected at the same times. And right now, you know, I don't know your time, but that Aquarius energy, if you read your chart from the moon, I can read your emotions. So emotionally, you're going to feel like you're getting psychically attacked because your Rahu's in your 12th house. It's really kind of hard to explain.
That's fine.
But it's both of you are going to have this for this year, a little more tense stress on your emotions. And it's from probably just a lot of things. It's a lot of other people. It could be hidden enemies, weird stuff. You could think you have hidden enemies, and there's a lot of people doing and a lot of people are getting affected by this, like a lot. So you have to understand, like it's everybody, and the people that are doing all the destroying and the destructing. Yes, I think it's negative influences from that we don't know about, and I think it's a lot of people that are just quite honestly miserable, you know, and they see people successful, and that's just that's how it works in life. You will always have enemies, like, you know, when you're doing anything like this, I mean, you have to be strong, because you go out there and I go out there and you go on the Leak Project, I get blasted. I mean, I have trolls beyond trolls. Like I have multiple trolls. He's probably in here right now. Who knows? You know? It's crazy. And I've had to really learn to not snap and let this really take over me, because I have a heavy Mars in my first house, and I have to watch it because I can heat up. That's
exactly right. Right. Like that's the whole, what we were just talking about, the fear and the love element. And when we can literally remove ourselves physically to be the conscious observer of our life outside of our physical element, then it's much more easy to deflect, like you said, and not let any of this horrible stuff in, because you can just instantaneously know that it's fear and it's evil and it's negative and I'm done with it. You go away. Right. But it's easier said than done, right? Because we get attacked and our physical egos wants to respond and be like, you know, go in me, especially, you know, like I want to go after yourself, you know, like I'll go on Rex's channel sometimes and attack these idiots. Yeah. It's such a waste of time. But let's get to what we were talking about, because I know what happened to me last night, because I told a lot of people in the group that I wanted to talk this, and I wanted you to analyze this for me. So after the show, and we talked about the attack in Hawaii, and that it was a real nuclear missile attack. I was about to go to bed, and I got an email from an unmarked email account, which happens all the time, especially when I go on the Leak Project, because God knows who's watching. And it was just dot in the subject line. So I clicked on it, opened it, and it said, please watch this, or you need to watch this, one of those two. I've already deleted the email. And so I clicked on it, and it was it said read this, not watch this. And it was an article that I sent you this morning that I posted in your thread today on the Facebook group. Someone analyzed what actually happened and got photography of the air right after the missile was blown up in Hawaii, right? And you know, you can Google this, and I guess a lot of this stuff has been blacklisted already because there's not a lot of videos of anything like that. But again, I'll share the screen just real quick here of what it was. Actually, let me pull it up before I share the screen so I know where it's at. Desktop. Well, even if I can't share the screen, I won't share the screen. Okay, let's see. So there's my screen right now. Let me see if I can pull this up so people can see this. So this was the photo. I don't know. Tell me, can you see that?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, so everybody else can see it then too. So that's the photo of the air right after the missile that was heading for Hawaii. Again, a nuclear missile that would have killed most likely hundreds of thousands of people. That's amplified of what the orbs were, or these energy bodies, or these UFOs, or however you want to classify them. And that's what it was. And this woman took this picture. And so this article that I saw that this guy said, you know, you need to watch this or read this last night, just completely mind blew me. So I'm telling you guys that story because this is then what happened. I went to bed. Right. I was already in kind of disagreement with my wife. So I hugged her. She was already fast asleep. I came to bed like 90 minutes later. And then I just like rolled over and I just said a prayer. And I just said, you know, God, please protect this earth. Because I just, like I said, I knew there was just darkness and weird shit going on. And so I woke up at 4:30 in the morning and to go to the bathroom. And I looked at my phone, and that's why I know it was 4:30 in the morning. And I swear to God, as I was going to the bathroom, I looked outside, like behind me in my bedroom upstairs, and it was light. And I'm like, what is going on? It's 4:30 in the morning. It never gets light till like, 5:55, 6 a.m. in LA, where it's twilight. It's not even sunlight. We don't even have the sun come up until another 45 minutes. So I woke Monica up when I went back to bed, and I'm like, babe, what is going on? Why is it light outside? And she was groggy and didn't really like acknowledge me and went back to bed. She said she stayed awake, but she just didn't really acknowledge me. So I fell asleep. And in my dreams, Heidi, and everybody who knows me, I do not remember my dreams. I'm not a dreamer. I know we all dream. I know that when we're in REM sleep, we're dreaming, but I don't consciously remember my dreams. Well, I remember my dreams this time. And for 90 minutes or so before I woke up, I had these like something came into me, like these energy beings, these angelic beings, whatever they were. And they literally told me that all is well. And it was so mind-blowingly profound for me, especially to have this. Woke up, did my cardio, took my kids to school, came back to confront, Monica, just to comfort her. She's downstairs and stuff in the kitchen. I'm like, hey, babe, and before I could even tell her, she told me that she also had profound dreams. And it was also very similar stuff. Like, she was being led down a tunnel. And so I was mind blown. So this is what I think, and I want your thoughts. I think that the light outside my house were these beings. I literally think they came because obviously I then dreamt about them.
Yeah.
I think they were there. And again, whether I was awake, I was definitely awake. I went to the bathroom. I flushed the toilet. I woke Monica up. She remembers me waking her up.
Right.
It was so surreal. So what do you think? Do you think that it's possible that the same thing that I saw that I just talked about, because again, my story on the Leak Project was that, my special forces guys told me that this was absolutely a certainty that it was a nuke and it was shot down. What do you think?
I think that, first of all, your dreams are profound. Your dreams will tell you, if you can tap into your dreams, you will get a lot of messages. And that's one thing I've always believed in, because if I have a dream and mine are always negative. So if I have a dream, somebody gets in a car accident and I call you and tell you not to get in that car, do yourself a favor and don't get into the car. So this is my psychic gift, you could call it. Okay. It's been through dreams, and it's usually negative. And you have to pay attention to these things because they tell you messages, whether you want to hear them or not. Sometimes it's nightmares and fear. I think you're tapping into a subconscious level that, you're just not used to experience. Like in a way, it's just like, I don't know how the right words for it, but it's definitely important. I do think that's possible. And I do think, there could have been people there. There could have been light beings, whatever you want to call them. But
that's what's so crazy is that in my head, in my dream, the beings were seriously similar to that orb. They were like orbs.
Now, here's the craziest part about this story. Okay. So I've never been big in the aliens. I'm like, if an alien knocks on my door, then I'll get real big into aliens. Other than that, because it's something like we don't know 100% the facts, all the details. I like facts. So when I, recently, but I am trying to learn about all the different beings and whatever you want to call it. So, and I'm putting them in charts, and I'm looking who can see aliens in charts and who can't. Like, I can see that. I'm more of a paranormal ghost person. I see ghosts. You'd be more prone to see aliens. It's in your chart. Okay. Right. It's Aquarius energy. So then I had a dream, and when I have dreams, they're about weather, destruction, or just weird stuff. And I had a dream about aliens. And the weirdest part is I was sitting I had a sliding glass door. I was with my friend Trisha, who I do YouTubes with. And I texted her and said, I got to tell you about this crazy dream. This was a few days ago. And the alien ships that were flying looked just like those things. And there was like a million of them flying to me. And I was like, Trisha, look at this. And she says, oh my God, whatever. And then all of a sudden, all these little blue little beings get out, but they kind of look like the Gremlins, like that movie. And I just watched the Gremlins, so I think maybe that's why. But they were cute and they were nice and they were funny, and we were like hanging out with these little aliens. And it's just so weird because they look just like that picture. So I think there's a message there. So something, if it's not, maybe it's a message like we need to pay attention to this.
Well, anybody who knows me, I don't remember my dreams. My wife is a vivid dreamer. She dreams every night. She's like a huge animal lover. She's like a protector of animals. And there's always our dogs are always in her dreams.
Yeah.
But, honestly, I woke up this morning, and this is what I want to say to the group and obviously to you. And I already told Jeff and Rex, because I texted them this morning, but it was such a profound experience for me that I truly do believe now that we are on the verge of great change, to the world and that we are protected. And whatever is happening, there's a lot of darkness, there's a lot of negative energy, bad juju, dark brotherhood, all of them, whatever they are, but they are being routed by very positive and benevolent beings. And again, I would rarely say this. I'm always kind of half glass empty. Like I said last night, I see things much more positively now. Whether Trump is good or bad, it doesn't matter, because whoever is in control of Trump is really good. Okay. And they are getting rid of the bad guys. And I just feel right now that Trump is an instrument for them, bad or good. I really do believe this. I believe that Trump originally ran as a political thing to boost his popularity and his business, pursuits. That's all it was. And in the process of doing it, the good ETs, the benevolence, whatever you want to call them, the galactics, there's a million different names for them. They must have come to him.
Yep.
And somehow either propositioned him, or maybe didn't even proposition him, just basically told him the game plan. This is how it's going to go. Because I've said this many times on podcasts, and I have no problem saying it here. And I know you've listened to, because I've been on Rex's show and Jeff's show, and we've talked about this. There are no coincidences, A, and B, there's no possible way that Trump could have won the election. It was completely rigged. They had every voting system scam. Hillary and her posse and Obama and all of these negative beings had it arranged that there was no way he could win. So in order for him to win, the only logical Occam's razor is that divine intervention occurred. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely think that's the case, because, if you see my channel, my feelings on him. So I have, since day one, always had a soft side for him. And then when I saw his chart, he's a Scorpio moon conjunct K2. I'm a Scorpio rising, makes total sense. He's a Leo ascendant. I have a Leo sun, makes sense. And I know how he thinks. I know exactly how that man thinks. Everything that he acts is a facade. It's an act to get him where he needs to go. He's a smart man. He's smarter than half those people. These people
all of them, probably all of them.
Everyone. People don't understand how intuitive he is. He's 15 steps ahead of everybody and everything. So on that note, yes, I think he knows where his boundaries are. He knows where he's getting attacked. He's already aware of all this stuff. He's playing it out strategically. He's playing this out in a way that, and whether it's divine intervention that made that happen, or whether it's, thank God, who knows, thank you, Jesus, whatever you want to call it, because I was petrified to think that woman was going to be running our country. I was really looking for a bunker. I was on that level. I thought the whole world was coming to an end.
I mean, can you imagine? And let me ask you this. This is a perfect seed for this. And I want you to keep your thoughts going, because I said this on the podcast last night with those guys. Do you believe, and I want you to think about this, do you believe that people who cannot sense that Hillary Clinton is negative are somehow like their chakras or their energy centers are just completely blocked? Because again, I posed this question to people in my circle, and I would say I pretty much only hang around with aware people.
Yeah.
And every single person that I know who's aware, to a man or woman, to that person, they're literally like, you're right, they shudder at the thought of Hillary Clinton, like literally shudder. And then you look out there and you see all of these men and women who support it. And it's like the only logical thing that I have is that, okay, they're either soulless, which we have Robert Stanley telling us that there are a lot of bots out there. There are a lot of people who literally have souls. That would make sense. Or what? Or what else would make someone not sense that Hillary was dark?
So you know what? I cannot answer that. I mean, I think they're lost in a way, to an extent of, or they're so damn brainwashed because they think Trump is so bad from her and that whole stuff. Like, that is the problem. Because, let's be honest, unless you are awake and aware of things and you can be open to different things, just like look at it like a religion. You know how Christianity is so freaking like crazy, where it's,
all of them, Catholics, Protestants, Islamics, Jews, it's all the same.
It is. And to be honest with you, one of the reasons why I found Hinduism in 2012, not to change the subject, but I thought the world was ending because of the Mayan calendar and all that stuff. And I was reading the Quran and I thought I was reading Revelations, believe it or not.
Of course.
And then I was
It's all the same. It's all the Abrahamic religions. It's all the same. Yeah. Different sects of these, mystery schools, if you want to call them, is what they are, just ripping people off.
Yes.
That's what we're doing.
Some people have the mentality, I think, that change and change, I said recently somewhere, I said, it's one of the most feared things,
Right.
like death. Okay. So if you think that if somebody's afraid of change, can't change their mind, a lot of people are so damn stubborn. And I think it's going to take a big eye opener, like what is about to happen very
soon. We're going to talk about.
Yes, I know what I'm so excited for, because I know it's going to happen. Screw the charts. Intuitively, I just know.
Exactly. Me too.
He will bust them out. Trust me. And he's just waiting for the right time.
So let's stay there, but I want to go back. There's a lot of great comments in the group real quick here. And guys, thank you so much for watching us. And again, please support people that come on the show's work. I mean, as you guys can tell, Heidi is amazing. I would highly recommend setting up a reading with her. She can really help you in your life and everything, and not just your business, but obviously helping you in your relationships and everything. I mean, me and Monica are going to do one for sure, but I want to stay there. So we know it's coming. We don't know how it's going to come. We don't know. We can't really envision it. It's happening, obviously, very methodically. Trump said, as I said last night on the podcast, Trump said that he was going to drain the swamp. Nothing that this man has said has not come true, right? Even the people that don't support him, this is what they say. Wow, actually, we do have a president that's making good on his promises. He might be the first guy ever that after 14 months being in office, nothing other than the wall being built, which we know is they're working towards doing that. Everything he said has come to fruition. So you have to logically believe that they are draining the swamp.
They are.
And
they are.
Yeah, these people are going to be taken out. Again, we don't know how. What do you think? And I asked the same question last night, but I want your thoughts. Like, what do you think is going to happen to society with all of these people who are brainwashed or bots or both? What is going to happen? Do you think we're going to have disruption, or do you think it'll be controlled?
So that's my concern. My concern is more along the lines of how humans are going to react. Okay. Because this is a big shakeup this is going to shake everybody up globally. And emotions, they're going to be, and there's a conjunction right now. And I live probably 30 minutes from DC. Okay. So I'm well aware. I sell homes right in Fort Meade. So, which is right by NSA. My clients are Fort Meade, military, NSA, all the time. So I have a lot of ins,
Yeah.
And I'm always asking them questions and trying to pick their brains too while this is going on. And, there's a big shakeup everywhere, and everybody knows it. Everybody feels it. Everybody, things are going to happen. It's just when and how. And I think that they're strategizing what to do, because, they know what's going to happen. Just calling all these people out, half the people, what's going to happen then? If they call all these people out, throw them down in Guantanamo Bay, whatever they're doing, who knows? But, they have to strategize. Okay, who's going to fill these? I think they're who's going to fill these slots? What's this going to do? What's this going to do? Are they going to try to escape? Trump said, listen, the most important thing I think that man has ever said is, you're not going to tell your enemies that you're going to call them out. You're not going to go. That's smart, right? You're not going to go to them and be like, hey, we're getting ready to really investigate you, and things are going to, because he knows what they're going to do. They're going to flee. They're going to try to burn their house down, which they did. That whole escapade. Did you see they just caught them on fire? Because they're getting hits, but I think it's going to be like a bomb drops. It's literally going to be like that. They're going to wake up one day and that's how this is going to be.
I agree. And by the way, if we analyze the QAnon comments, and clearly, I'm not here to debate whether there's false QAnons. There probably is. But the truth is that everything that guy or that intel group he's clearly, or it's clearly, or they are clearly connected to Trump, without a doubt, because so many of these things that have been dropped have actually come true. And you're right. They're saying it's going to happen. It's like you said, Trump is 1,000 steps ahead of everyone. It's methodically planned. They have a strategy. I mean, again, all of the things that's going on in the background, right? We've seen this complete drop off of ISIS, complete drop off of Al Qaeda. There's no terrorist stuff going on. All of the conflicts that were going on internationally have basically dropped off completely off the face of the earth. Ever since the deep state launched the attack in Vegas, there hasn't been anything of the sort. Now, obviously, we don't have an investigation and we don't have answers yet, but that's probably because it's coming too. It's part of the process. I remember when Trump flew to Vegas, it was one day later, and I know this because my business partner's wife could not fly into Arizona. She's like, yeah, they closed the airport in Vegas. I'm like, what's going on? You know, it was only for a 3 or 4 hour window. Well, it was for Air Force One to land in Las Vegas unannounced. He went there. He spoke to the sheriffs. He didn't speak to the FBI. He spoke to the sheriffs, the local people. He found out that it was a massive cover up, government led or run, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he bounced. So it's
Yeah.
not like this guy doesn't know everything. And again, the QAnon, they say we're way in front of you. We're paying attention. We have all comms, all channels are frequented. We're watching, we're listening. You cannot outguess us. It's kind of like Robert De Niro in the movie Cape Fear when he's like, counselor, I can out philosophize you. I can outthink you. I mean, that's what it's seriously, that's what to me is going on. It's exactly as you said, Trump and whoever his allies are, and I believe his allies are up.
I agree. That's who they are.
They are.
I don't think he's working for any of them. He's not working for any human beings here.
No.
Okay? I don't care what anybody. I've looked at all their charts. His chart's different than anybody that has ever been in that office.
I agree.
Anybody.
It's the only thing that makes sense. It's the only logical scenario because he would be dead.
Exactly.
We all want him dead.
Right. And you know, the things he's like, you know, I know he doesn't say the most beautiful, pleasant things, and I can appreciate that sometimes because quite honestly, he speaks what he thinks. Like, that's how I am. Unfortunately, like sometimes when you have that and you get your feelings hurt, you're going to say something a little, that's how you know he's real. Like he's a real human being.
Heidi, most people can't hear the truth, right? We've lost all accountability as a society. So when somebody is out there like you or me or Trump or anybody and they speak without filters, oh, you can't say that. You're offending me. I mean, You saw that crazy thing that went around on Facebook, I think about 10 days ago, and everybody was sharing it about the millennial job interview. I mean, that's what these kids have been engineered to be like. You know, safe spaces. Oh, no, I live my life. I have this entitlement complex. I mean, it just so many of these younger people and obviously some older people in like corporate culture have been engineered to have zero accountability.
Yeah, it's so true. It's that to me is a whole nother freaking show. Like, because for me, I've never, you know, I was silver spoon fed kid too. Like I had everything I wanted. I was made fun of and bullied a lot. So I had a lot of anger and a lot of hate. And, you know, I like animals more than people type of person. This is Heidi, you know? So when with my brother, but I always had my brother that it was handicapped, cerebral palsy, couldn't walk, talk on a feeding tube. And, you know, and I'm getting made fun of that. They remind me, those people, of that, like these crazy, like the people that made fun of me, you know, these irate lunatics that just don't even, and that's how those type of people, I don't know if there's helping them. I don't know, you know, so people that they need to open up their eyes. I think sometimes if they get their charts read, I think a lot of people act that way because they're lost.
I agree. I mean,
and they don't have a purpose, you know?
So it goes back to the whole chakra thing. And again, I write about this in my upcoming book. You know, a lot of people know that I write about hormones and fitness and optimization and everything, but I mean, I have, as some of my best friends know, like I have a whole chapter. People are going to be mind blown when they read their book because they're going to find out that Jay Campbell is this guy, right? The Decoders of Truth guy. They're going to find out about spiritual fitness. You know, I have like 30 pages about the energy centers and chakras and visualization and going within, going beyond and understanding like the gift is in the contrast and all that stuff. And so it's like, they're going to be mind blown when they read that. But I have no doubt, and this is why I met Jeff, okay? There's this spiritual element of people becoming healthy, right? Let's just describe it as general as that. Like you cannot be aware. This is my opinion, but there's a lot of books and texts that bear this out. You cannot be fully spiritually conscious and aware when you are in poor physical health. And now that can be, you know, you're morbidly obese. You have like an inability to move around. I mean, again, some people, it's unfortunate. They're paying off karmic debts from past lives. They did bad things in past lives. And now they're stuck, right? They're stuck in this incarnation, in this physical incarnation, or in this physical body, in this meat suit. And they got to deal with it, right? And that's okay. And so I always say to people, it's like, look, if your life is bad right now, work on going within, working on silencing your mind, and figuring out how you can make more out of your current condition. And unfortunately, some people are not going to make more out of their condition in this physical body, in this incarnation, but you will have a chance, you know, to get back in the next incarnation. So just take it for what it's worth. But it's mind blowing to me to see how many people in our society are obese, how many people are addicted to alcohol, they're addicted to sugar, they're addicted to all of these man-made, quote unquote, AI, demonic, black, dark brotherhood, whatever you want to call them, transhumanism. And then they wonder why they don't, or we wonder, or we ask the questions why they're not aware, why they don't think like us, why they don't believe the same things we believe. And it's because their energy centers, i.e. their chakras, are completely blocked.
Yeah. Or I think, yes, 100%. And I think another problem people have sometimes is from their past. They have traumatic, like everybody has dealt with shit in their life. Like everybody has had problems. Everybody comes from screwed up families. The majority of us, something weird, some situation, there's always something, and until you can forgive that and forget it and, get over some of the things that I hold grudges. Okay. So I remember every shitty thing every person has ever said to me. I have like memory this way. And this is one of my downfalls because I don't get over things and it will sit there. And unless I address it immediately, this is one of the things the chart has helped me understand. So I think when people get readings and come to spiritual people that read this, get healthier, and they go on this path, that's when they can change. I think you're still driving the bus. You're given with a roadmap of here you have a roadmap of your life in a chart, in a way. This is how I look at it. But you're still in control. You're driving that bus. You have to, and if you know the maps, the road maps, and you know which way is going to lead you this way, it's going to, if you're aware, you can make better decisions and you can change.
There's no doubt. Anybody, anybody, no matter what, you can change. There's no doubt. But I do believe that some people have done some really heavy stuff, and it's really difficult in your first or second or third incarnations past that bad stuff to not, have a lot of contrast. But you're right. I mean, a lot of things too are perception. Solier just left a really good comment. She's saying these people that we're referring to are part of your consciousness. They played their role perfectly. That's a very good point. Because when you try to label and you judge, and we're not judging, but we're labeling, right? Just to give a perspective and a how do I say it? Like a thread of reference. She's right. I mean, but it's just really, really weird. We're in a time right now where we have, like, I would say it, and again, my opinion, but 50% of people are on one side of the coin and the other 50% on the other. And it's because that's the goal, right? The elites are trying to divide and conquer. So the best way to divide and conquer is to half us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, seriously, our enemies, the war that we're like battling is everybody that is living here on this earth. Like, that's what I think the war is going to be, like what you just said, that 50-50, and that's going to be the problem.
Yeah, I agree with you. I hope that when everyone finds out what they're about to find out, and we both know, and who knows how much Trump and the crew, the posse, the galactics, the light being posse, how much they're going to let out. But there's some dark shit going on this planet, and it's been going on for thousands of years. I tell people have been eaten, they've been sacrificed. They're still probably being eaten and sacrificed. We know the kids.
Yeah,
right?
Kids.
We know Pizzagate's real. We know Pedogate. We know the pedophilia runs in the elite circles. We know this is an established fact. This is not you and me hypothesizing or pontificating. This is real stuff. Whether people want to believe it or not, they want to believe it's a conspiracy theory. It's not. There have been really smart people who have put out really good articles and very good stories with data and facts, to show that this is all legitimate. So my question to you is, again, are people going to be able to handle what is going to come out?
No. That people's heads are going to spin. I think some people will kill themselves. Honestly, I think some people, a lot of people that probably do it, they're going to all vanish. They're going to be ashamed. They're going to, I don't know, like how it's going to be. I can tell you that the fact that we talk about it, it makes people more aware. So I think they won't be as shocked because are they going to be accepting it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's sick. Open up your eyes and listen. Like, it's sick shit that goes on. It really is. I didn't know that went on until I, talked to Jenny and to hear about this. And I was like, oh my God. But then when you research it, my God, you could see the stuff in the charts. It's sick. It's there. You can see it happens.
Yeah. It is. And again, there's so many people who just like, They just turn it off. Oh, it's fake, right? Like the mainstream has done such a great job now of like, misinterpreting or misengineering everything. Nobody knows what's fake and what's not. It used to be the alternative news was clearly not fake. And now there's tons of fake news in the alternative things too. So they've maintained their control of media for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what blows me away is like, we're talking about this last night and all of us on this podcast know of people, again, me, Rex, and Jeff last night knew of people that dealt with the Hawaii horrific thing that went on for 1 hour after the missile alert, right? Where in the mainstream has there been any coverage of that? If you're going to deny that didn't happen, and then literally, obviously with their retraction, oh, it was a false alarm, somebody hit a wrong button, whatever.
Wrong button. That is the dumbest
There's no coverage of it, Heidi. There's no coverage of what happened to the people.
I know.
Where is CNBC and MSNBC and CBS and ABC and all of these people not covering that of the crisis these families and all these people, hundreds of thousands of people went through? There's no coverage.
I can't even imagine. I had a warning of a chemical leak that was in the bay just a few miles away, and I had a panic attack. So just to imagine to see that a missile was coming, I don't know how I would have handled that. I just can't imagine. I can't even imagine feeling that. That has to be the worst pandemic. And plus, because it really didn't happen. So that whole hour was probably so surreal, Like that 1 hour of that shakeup or 2 hours and then just waiting for it, I don't know. I can't even think about that. It makes me nervous thinking about it.
Well, I sit there and I think it's funny that you just said that. There's no coincidences because it didn't happen. It did happen.
It did happen.
Engineered to think that it didn't happen.
Right. No, it did happen. You know what I mean? But the missile didn't.
No, but that's
everybody.
Your comment's brilliant.
Yeah.
No, your comment's brilliant because it didn't happen. In the 3D world and construct that we live in, it didn't happen. And that's what we've been told. And that's what most people have been conditioned to believe. Yeah. And again, the framing of the narrative, which is what the mainstream is always able to control, at least until this certain point, is that it didn't happen. Go back to your normal, lives, miserable or not.
Maybe the button hit.
Suck up the BS that we feed you.
Yeah.
Or be like us and find all these alternative stories and go on YouTube and listen to these very brilliant people, very connected, very military intel based, tell the real story, right? Yeah. So it's like you have a choice now, today's day and age with all this media, as long as you have a broadband internet connection, to believe what you want to believe. And so it's hard, I think, to really understand what's real and what's false.
Yeah, that's very true. Because then you can go down the train where you think everything's fake. And then you just get, I'm a glass half full person or empty person too. I'm always thinking of the worst because then when something good happens, you're like, woohoo. And then if it's bad, you don't get that. You're like, oh, I knew that one was coming, So I'm definitely one of those people. I call it a realist, not so negative, but a realist. I'm going to look at all the facts. I'm going to think about, could this, and I'm going to keep my mind open. That's the key. You should keep your mind open to it, because if you're like, oh no, that would never happen, that, there's no way, then I can guarantee you if it does, that those are the people that are going to lose their marbles.
The great hermeticists also, have always said, all things are possible. We can manifest any conscious reality that we choose, especially when you know that we are in this three-dimensional world, this matter realm, where our souls have descended here, to be in these physical bodies, which are supposed to be like an enjoyable experience, right? We're having sex, we're doing all these physical things that you can't do in like the fourth, fifth, sixth, and higher dimensions. Mm-hmm. But obviously there's also stronger negative forces here that make things worse. And obviously we're always dealing with our ego, which is the greatest challenge. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's interesting to think about that, because really and ultimately you come here as a soul to obviously learn further lessons when you reincarnate. But there's the original essence of coming here in the physical experience is to enjoy.
Yep.
But we have engineered, again, all of us as a collective group have engineered a pretty negative environment, and you really have to be working outside of the quote unquote sandbox of the matrix, which is the, the mainstream construct of the mainstream narrative, to really grow your soul or to evolve your soul. And it's fascinating to think, because I really do believe that there, again, no coincidences. We're all drawn to this, right? There's everybody in the Decoders of Truth, everybody that goes to your YouTube channel, all the people that watch the Leak Project, for the most part, are somewhat aware. Yes, there's trolls and people that are disinfo, but for the most part, we're all here trying to, upgrade our souls, so to speak. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that for the most part, you're right. So it's just, I think a lot of people worry so much about what everybody else thinks as well, so they don't want to be judged. It's the ego thing. So for me, like, it's hard getting up there and, saying things and talking about this stuff and hearing, oh, you're this or you're that, but you have to eventually just be who you want to be. And that's the lesson, because you can pretend like you're somebody and have a facade all day long. Okay. But the moral is the truth will come out at some point, whether it's, with your family, when you're mad or whatever. If you're not living your truth, if you're not living what you should be doing, you're going to just be lost, and I think the more you people that, do things like this, and people that spread these kind of messages, it's important. It's so important, because it's a different world now. We do not, 30 years ago, this could have never been done. I couldn't talk to my friend in the UK on a Skype call and on Zoom. Like, we have to take advantage of this when we have this opportunity. It's all technology.
I agree. There's a lot of people that freak out about AI and, all the modern enslavement and all the technological advices, but you're right. I mean, the positive is that what you and I are doing right now, all these people watching us, typing in their messages, it's all because of this, right? I mean, it's because of this great technology. Let me ask you a couple hard questions, and then we'll ask the audience if they want to ask questions and stuff like that. So what, and Rex is always avoiding the answers. Obviously, Jeff and I gave our answers last night. So I want your guess, and you're much more intuitive than most of us, but your guess on the rest of this year. Like, what is going to happen? Are we going to see like the greatest shift, in thousands of years on this planet? What are your thoughts?
I think this is the start. Okay. I think this is like, in a way, this year is the calm before the storm. I kind of think that. So this year, I'm going to say that the end of this month and February, there are going to be some big blasts, like big shakeups. Okay. Then I think it's going to simmer down a little bit. Then we're going to have a lot of weather things. I think the weather stuff is going to be tremendous. I think Mother Nature also plays a toll.
Absolutely.
Yes, modified, whatever. But if you mess with Mother Nature, okay, you will get burned. Like,
just last night, the Ring of Fire erupted. We had a 7.8 earthquake off the coast of Alaska. We had multiple volcanoes erupt. So you're right. Mother Nature, Gaia, she's already watching closely.
Yeah, right. And I do think that, those are the things that are going to be happening this year. I think weather, huge things with that. I think finances, money is going to be all over the place. I think this year is going to be a whole year of shakeups. I think Trump is going to do some remarkable things, and I think people are going to really be like, oh my God, I cannot believe that I thought this about this man, and these people were doing this.
Well, let me ask you, because you and I spoke before we got on the show today, and we're both in real estate, and obviously, and you're doing really well, and we're doing really well. In most major markets right now, there's a massive upswell of people wanting to buy. Values are at all-time highs. So there's a lot of good stuff going on. And that's obviously overall for the economy great, right? I don't think anybody can debate, and this is the question I have for you though. I don't think anyone can debate that since Trump took over, we've had an upswell in almost everything. Now, obviously there's a lot of negative stuff in the background being taken out, and we don't really know the specifics and the particulars, but most things have improved. The stock market soared. A lot of retail stores are closing, of course, but that's just because of technology, and they're phasing out old school platforms that don't really reside in the technological space. But for the most part, people are benefiting. And I see this year, as you and I were saying, it's going to be a massive year for the economy, because the new tax plan takes 35% to 20% corporate tax rate. Anyone who's an entrepreneur makes more money. They spend more money freely in the economy, which creates more jobs. It creates more economic stimulus, on it goes. I don't see anything, even as a hater, if I put myself in the hater shoes, if I was someone who hated Trump and was, just anti, I can't make a thorough argument other than the nonsense that the mainstream news, which we know is fake, constructs that he's this and this and that, everything they've tried to throw at him has been proven bogus. A scam, the Russian dossier, all this stuff.
Nonsense. And honestly, even the only point I have that I can go, and look at the other side and have a lot of like sympathy for is if you're foreign, because I like foreigners a lot. That's just me. I have a soft side. I'd have a million refugees in my house if I could. Okay, hidden away. That's just me. Now he is not, and here's the point. He's trying to negotiate, getting that DACA thing fixed. And look what happens. Nobody wants to negotiate.
Right.
So and then they just spin it around, make him look like a jerk. He's not like that. People think he's like this crazy.
Right. He's a great negotiator. He's the great negotiator.
Yeah.
Let's make the deal, the art of the deal.
And he's sensible. He's trying to make he's not racist, for God's sakes. I know he's not. He's trying everything to accommodate all parties, and make everybody happy. He's renegotiating the climate stuff, and makes a stance. But if he will say, if he doesn't think that if something else is more beneficial, he's going to change his mind. He's smart. You have to. You can't just be stubborn. He's smart.
Well, you said something, and I'm going to ask you, put you on the spot, like I always do. And by the way, you've been amazing in this podcast. I appreciate you coming on. And you'll get to answer questions in a second. Also talk about where people can find you online and stuff. But do you think that the progressives, that's how I'll label them, the fans of the past administration, whatever the hell that is, do you really think that they're ever going to overcome their conditioning, brainwashing, lack of a soul, whatever it is? Do you think that they're going to be able to accept Trump and his administration and his policies, even in the face of amazingness that happens, let's say, over the next year?
No, never. No.
I think you're right. But so that's the scary part, right? If I'm gonna pontificate and future prophesize, as my wife always likes to use that term, the negative would be that there's a huge societal portion that is so angry, incensed, inflamed, upset, left out, disconnected, that what are we going to do with them?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. That's a great question. I don't think they're going to change. I think this battle will always be here.
Yeah. I
think even when all these people get called out and and they're called out for the pedophiles and everything,
they'll still make excuses, right?
Yeah. They're trying to.
It's a right-wing conspiracy.
They're making it sound how they're winging in how they bring it in, the rape, the molesting.
Right.
They make it okay on Saturday Night Live. Like it's normal.
I know, right? Like pedophilia, right? They're trying to make it legal, that it's okay, that it's a disease, and that you need to go to therapy for it.
And there was one they did with a pizza shop. Like they literally just did that. They are making it so everybody's like, oh yeah, which is why they make the whole sex thing, like everything is okay, everything's open, because of these reasons, because they're prepping people, because I think for now this reason, and that's why they took it too far, where now they're in trouble, because they kind of like were trying to wean everybody into it, try to get everybody on board. And then boom, this all comes out. Because when I heard it, I was like, what? No. When I heard that they did that, I was like, no way. I just didn't like Hillary Clinton. I just looked at her and thought I wouldn't even like meet her for a drink. I'd want to like smack her. I just could not stand her.
I mean, and again, and that's my sense too. And I'm not a TV watcher, but I remember I said this. My wife went with her sister and her dad to Hawaii last year on a family trip to celebrate their mom and everything's passing and stuff. And that week was the week of the election. So that was like the only time that I actually at night after my daughters went to bed, that I watched stuff. And I actually went on YouTube on my flat screen. I don't even know why I even have TVs in my house anymore. I can barely watch it, but I went on YouTube and I watched the debates, and not all of them. I watched the second and the third debate that they had. And I just had this sense that like when Hillary walked around amongst the sensitive people, I literally got the sense that she was demonic.
Yeah.
I'm anti just looking at things as a neutral observer. And it just didn't make sense. Now, obviously Trump is loud and, he humiliates her whenever he can. And, he would say, if I was president, when he said you'd be in jail, and it was a funny soundbite, but you just don't get the sense that Hillary gives a rat's ass about any of us.
She's
And she
evil,
gives
in
off
my
that
opinion.
vibe, right?
Yeah. She looks like, to me, the soulless person. Like, if there was anybody in this world that I've ever seen, like, at least some people I would feel, even if somebody did horrible things, I would be able to, like, look at their chart and say, well, it's because of this, and give them a chance. Her, no, there's not. I really think she's a bad person. Like, she's literally a bad person. I mean, there's parts of me that think she's like, that whole family is just,
It's
the worst.
Well, I mean, look at her daughter. I mean, again, I don't want to go off tangent,
Yeah.
but look at her daughter. Her daughter spent money from the Haitian recovery thing
On her freaking
a
wedding.
$3.4 million wedding. Her husband this guy's the scam artist of all scam artists. Look him up. Look up Hillary Clinton. Everybody watching this, Google Hillary Clinton's husband. The guy was a hedge fund manager of elites, managing money. This is the greatest scam, by the way, I think I've ever heard in my life. As soon as Hillary lost, he shut down the hedge fund. He got sued by all these people.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? I mean,
Right.
he had supposedly hundreds of millions of dollars under management. I mean, again, it's crazy that we can see this when we're aware, Heidi. And so many of us can see this, like the forest through the trees. I mean, give me a break. And others can't even see that any of them did any wrong. It's a right-wing conspiracy. It's so separate that people are aware and people are asleep. I mean, that's just where we find ourselves.
Well, it's funny you say that TV thing, and I don't watch TV. I don't watch movies. The only channel news that I would watch is OANN, One American News Network. And I watched this channel the whole entire time during the election. They're not allowed on the regular news. So they're either on AT&T or you have to stream them. Okay. There's a reason, obviously, because they do point out more global issues. The whole time they had that Project Veritas guy on there showing all those things that came out after, about how all those people went in during the Clinton campaign, pretended like they were donating money, and then boom. And I was like, who is anybody watching this channel?
It's incredible.
This was during the election. I'm like, nobody's paying attention to this. Like, what's going on here? And I do think then I noticed, I'm like, it's awfully interesting how all these rock stars, these famous people, the celebrities.
Oh, I'm glad you brought this up.
All up Hillary Clinton's ass, all go into her things. Then when I met Jenny and she told me about all these pedophile rings, then I'm watching the things. I'm like, oh my God, this is so true. These people are sick. It's crazy.
Let me just say this right now, because I wanted to say this on Rex's show last night, but I have a very, very powerful person that I mentor under. She's a massage therapist. Her name is Kathy Martinez. Anyone who knows me knows I've talked about her. She is a light worker. Sometimes I used to think she was an alien and just hiding it from me, because she does cranial sacred therapy, and she literally clears negative energy from your body. She's an amazing human being. She straight up told me in a massage therapy session in the last week, not that I didn't already know, and this is going to hurt a lot of people, Oprah Winfrey is demonic. Okay? I'm going to tell everybody who's listening to this right now, Oprah Winfrey is not to be trusted. None of those people are to be trusted. Oprah Winfrey is close to Weinstein. All these people have this, image of she's holier than thou and she could do no wrong. I wouldn't trust anything from Oprah Winfrey. She's just as connected to these horrifying people and individuals as any of them. And if you believe otherwise, guess what? It's a free country. You're allowed to. But the person who told me that Oprah is dark is a person who's connected to the light. Okay. So I know that. And when she told me that, it was just like an internal resonation thing for me, because I was like, well, that would make the most sense. None of these, like you said, Heidi, none of these Hollywood people, these quote unquote elites, they run in the same circles of pedophilia. And again, I'm not saying that every elite is bad. We know that's not the case, but there's the majority of them who are connected to this Hollywood oligopolis, the defense industry, all of this black, ops stuff. They're all negative. Every single one of them. I don't care what anybody thinks. You can attack me over that. There is no doubt, because if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So true. And whether they're trained that way, or if they're MK Ultra, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
It is what it is. They are who they are, and they're brainwashing everybody. So everybody that watches all these little celebrities and all these shows and these TV shows and all this stuff, that's the problem.
Somebody just asked, okay, so guys, are you okay to take some questions?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So there's so many amazing comments. Guys, thank you so much for watching this show. Heidi's been an amazing guest. I'm definitely going to have Heidi on regularly. I want actually Heidi and Monica to do a podcast together because I know they're going to have like serious juju. So somebody just said, what about Deepak Chopra?
That's
right?
that's a very tricky one for me too.
Yeah, because he has a lot of really good stuff. Like there's a lot of good stuff, like great spiritual teachings, great recommendations.
No.
You know, and I would actually make the argument too about people like Tony Robbins who also run in these circles. Tony Robbins has amazing, you know, life-changing stuff. I think you just have to take a lot of stuff what these people do with a grain of salt. And then there's also the important thing about to understand, again, hermetics, the duality of the polarity, right? The pendulum is always swinging and good becomes evil and evil becomes good and dark becomes light, night becomes day. You can't look at everything like we like to do in this 3D human construct where everything has to be labeled. It's always like this. It's always like this. It's always like this. No, good becomes evil and evil becomes good. So dark people could be good in a lot of things that they do. And I think that's where a lot of people lose sense about that. So when I say Oprah is dark and she's conflicted, of course she's done a lot of good for humanity. Of course she's done good things. Of course she's set up, helped poor people and helped families and helped
probably
women.
out of guilt.
But at the end of the day, I think it's important that people understand that just because you're connected to dark forces and you do dark things doesn't mean that you haven't done something good in your life. And again, that's the whole hermetic principles, the duality of the polarity. You can be good and be bad. Right.
And I think another thing about that is some people that maybe were involved in it can change and can realize what the hell is like. I've seen people that have said they've been at these things and they've participated in something and then got out when they, you know, like a lot of different people. So, and then they get, you know, shafted or they lose all their contracts or whatever, you know, you hear all this stuff. But I think that it's an interesting topic. I could talk about that's Jenny Moonstone is a really big advocate for this. So on my channel, she really gets into it. We're doing a show app tonight. So
awesome.
That's what I love about her, because her dad, she calls him deepstate.com. He literally is well connected, okay? And what she does and takes a risk going out there and, you know, because she's so passionate about it, is very admirable, you know? So that's why I let her rant on my channel about it, and because I think it's so important to bring awareness to it.
So many great comments. You guys, thank you again for watching. We're going to answer questions now for 15 minutes. They're all for Heidi. Please don't ask me questions about my book or fitness. This is all for Heidi. And then obviously don't ask personal questions that she can't do. That's for you and her to have a reading. I'll just write some comments. So good guys, type in your questions right now. So some of the comments I'll just read. How dare you? Oprah is an angel. So Tony Monicon, what's up, Tony? He says 2014 Clinton Foundation returned 91 million made, 5.2 million donated. Largest donation was to Bono's Haitian Relief Fund. It was $700,000. Absolutely disgusting. These people are, I mean, again, they're demonic. I can't prove it, but they have demonic influences. They're Luciferian. There's no question. Let me see some of those other ones. Kyle Stevenson said Oprah is on video in a group, including Bill Gates, agreeing that population should be under 500 million. So I don't know who this person is. Lee Rudy Montesinos has had some really great comments throughout the thread. Thank you so much for watching. He said, I want to see something. He said, there will be a new breakaway civilization of aware individuals from all over the world that will accept the new paradigm with open arms, and everyone else will be left behind. You'll have one group that spectates this new breakaway civilization and another one that will absolutely hate it. That's probably a good point. You know, I've had some really smart people that I've done podcasts with that said, we will have two divergent populations. Like literally they will grow and exist in parallel to one another. See, I don't agree with that as much as that theoretically is possible. I just don't see one negative, like hating of the other and the other aware and not caring of the other, not creating some sort of an issue. I still think we would have some sort of a society.
Oh, there would be an issue. Yeah, there would be an issue. I missed that part. Yeah, for sure. There was going to be a fight. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the questions. Ready? Has Heidi looked at Oprah's chart?
I have not, but I will. Maybe I'll do that tonight. I should, but I don't know. We need her time, so I'll have to take a look at it. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Do that tonight. Yeah.
So they're asking how much is a reading? You don't have to tell us, but I'm assuming it's based on that person, what they want. And if they're
Yeah, it varies. It will vary. Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys price vary. So how can they set up an appointment with you?
So the best thing to do is to go onto my website. It's the worst website in the world for a reason. Sorry. It's oneofakindbyheidi.org. There's no information. You can buy the software I use on it if you want to learn astrology. My YouTube channel is kind of the best place to start too, just because, you know, if you don't want to spend money on it, I do live readings on the week. And if you can get your birthday in there when I go live, it's definitely, we can do your chart. So I do that to give people a little taste so they can believe it and see it without actually like paying for a reading. And, but as my channel is growing, that seems to be like getting harder to do because with the amount of people, it's just been tough to keep up with the dates. So, you know, you have to watch live. And so oneofakindbyheidi.org or go to my YouTube channel, channel 27. I do have a wait. So once you pay and submit, there is a 45-day wait. So that's just because I have two careers too. I'm full-time real estate and full-time.
I mean, that's what I wanted to say. I mean, obviously you're a successful real estate agent, guys. So Heidi is not some two-bit con artist. She definitely does this, you know, in a way to serve others. And like I said, if you're in a position in your life, and I've been there in my life, I've been through many breakthroughs and breakdowns. But if you're in a position in your life where you think you're close, okay, or if you're the polar opposite, you're at the rock bottom, that's when you do a reading. Because honestly, and I never say this on my podcast before, and I've learned this from my amazing wife, when you're at your worst point is actually the inverse. That's actually your greatest gift because you're about to break through to a whole new world of learning and living and love that you never had before. And that's what's so amazing is like, you know, physically our ego is like, oh my God, woe is me. My life sucks. I'm going to contemplate killing myself. Because everybody who knows my story knows that I tried to kill myself. I drove through an intersection at 80 miles an hour with my eyes closed in Las Vegas in a very, very busy intersection, you know, with my hands around the steering wheel. And thankfully, an angel, something made me open my eyes and I locked up my brakes and turned right and I saved myself from death. Okay. Now I'm knowing what I know now about spirituality and incarnations and all those things. I'm glad that I didn't kill myself because guys, if you kill yourself, you're in serious trouble. The karmic debts that you have to repay are so great that you are, I don't want to go that path, but it's so
or
true.
You're just going to deal with it again. They're doing the same thing.
In a much worse fashion, right?
Much worse. Yeah.
So true that breakdowns are your greatest opportunity for breakthroughs.
Yeah.
So don't, again, judge that with the ego.
Right.
Give someone like Heidi an opportunity to help you because as she told you guys, she can help. I mean, she literally can read things about you that you
can I share my screen real quick? I'm just going to show you real quick what I look at. Okay. This is not something that, all right.
You can do it. You should be able to do it yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll just go to Trump because he's just easy. Okay, so this is what I look at, and this is my software. Okay, so this is, you know, there's so many parts to this. It's not like, oh, you're just a rising sign or a sun sign. This is a big ordeal. Like there's so much information that I've been studying and analyzing. This is your birth chart. This is the chart you turn into. These are your nakshatras. If you've seen me on YouTube at all, you'll know I talk about these a lot. You know, you have to know planet lordships. You have to know the planets, the houses. I mean, this is like, it's a big thing. And then I'm analyzing like Bitcoin and stuff now. This is a whole new thing I've been doing.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like, don't put your whole life savings in it, but I've been like really just playing around with it with transits because I've put some money in, nothing crazy. But here's the thing. I hit rock bottom. Okay. I was a lost shit show. I was a mess. I was unpleasable. Thought my whole life was so horrible. Nothing was ever going to make me happy. I was felt like a horrible person, guilt, shame, humility, whatever, you name it. And all I did was kept getting more astrology readings because in a way, now I will say this from the reverse. A lot of astrologers never told me I was going to be doing this. Nobody did. I have one of those charts that's kind of dicey. But what you'll learn about yourself, I'm going to tell you all your positive things, like everything that you've ever thought about doing in your life. I'm going to be able to know from your month, day, year, city, time, location. And this is like real-time transits, what's going on with Trump. So this is like Rahu in his 12th, hidden enemies. These are the houses. They all mean a ton of different things. But then you have charts within charts. I do compatibility. You can see, who's good for you, who's not. This is your wealth chart, your D2 chart, aura chart, D4 chart, which is money beyond the means. This is health, illnesses. You can see what's going on with people's health. You can see, all that stuff. Like actually, Jay, you have a chart as like a doctor does too. Like you're definitely a healer, and your wife is as well. Both of you two have like really good healing charts. And so when you look at that, with modern medicine, everything's changed and everything's shifted so much. We need more of those Ayurvedic medicine doctor people in our lives. I mean, because there are so many alternative medicine people out there that that they can really do some tremendous healing. So
it's awesome. You guys, we got 8 minutes left, and then I'm going to shut this down. If you have more questions, please ask your questions right now. Again, for Heidi, not for me. That's fascinating. I was going to say to you, I was going to make a joke. Please tell me Monica and I are compatible, right?
Oh yeah, you guys have good compatibility because you guys are so similar.
Right. Isn't that weird though? Because a lot of people think like, oh, opposites attract and blah, blah, blah.
No, I disagree completely.
No, that's what I was going to say, because I mean, we work together too, right? Like we have this very passionate relationship, but we also work together. And, thankfully we do well enough that like I can go and do all these other things, which are eventually going to lead us to way bigger and better things than just real estate. And she can do the real estate, but we are in each other's faces, breathing on each other 24/7. And most couples, as you know, the husband goes off to work and the wife does what she does. And then they meet up at night, hopefully for dinner. And then that's how life is. But me and Monica are like 7 days a week.
Because you guys are, the thing about the Aquarius energy together, like the moons. So in Indian astrology, the most important part is your moon sign, your moon nakshatra. So when you have the same moons, that means you're on the same page. You think the same way. Okay, now you think a little bit differently because you have Rahu there, so it's going to make you a little more, change your mind a little bit more. And I'm pretty sure Monica has Moon conjunct Mars, which when she gets mad, she could get turned into a pistol.
Oh my God.
But the positive, she gets shit done. She handles things.
Yep.
She's assertive. She doesn't play games. She's like down to business. And you need to have that for real estate. And it's
Monica makes it happen.
She's very she's all business. Like she's and you could see that in her when I've watched a lot of her videos that she makes, like inspirational stuff. And that's that Mars conjunct Moon. Yes, it can do like make you mad and get you mad, but it also can make you driven, a great motivator, and it's very positive. So when you have that Aquarius, you guys are like each other's best friends. You're on that same wavelength. Yeah, you're gonna have your fights. Who the hell doesn't? But I personally think to be with somebody with the same energy, not the exact same charts, that's never going to happen, but to have the same like morals, the same goals, that's very important. To respect each other, that you guys are like friends, that give you each other your space. That's all very important, especially if you work together. I mean, you have to have almost the same charts.
So you guys, if you're listening, man, Heidi's software is no joke. I mean, she's going seriously deep. So I got a good question, by the way, for you. So did you create the software yourself? And
hell no.
Okay, so and then it goes on. Are the algorithms used? The software and the algorithms, which we know is the answer is no. But do you do other type of readings like tarot cards, for example?
So I have been incorporating some tarot in my readings with transits because there's so much knowledge to. And my new favorite thing, the rods.
Yeah, doesn't Jeff do those?
Yeah, Jeff made these. Okay.
Awesome.
So I think so sometimes because there's so many interpretations. I did not make the software. No, absolutely not. I use the sidereal zodiac. The sidereal zodiac is a sign behind, basically. If you take a star chart app, stick it in the sky, you can see Saturn is not in Capricorn like everybody thinks. Saturn is in Sagittarius and the nakshatra Mula. So it's like real time sidereal zodiac. That's what I use. Western astrology works as well, but for me, this is way more accurate. And I believe that if the Westerns made it, they've twisted it. The Hindu stuff, just like they've twisted it. And I'm a conspiracy girl. So I will say that if they give us an astrology time and an astrology way, it's probably the wrong way. Because why? They use it. Every elite, every smart person that makes a ton of money uses astrology. It's a fact. Okay. It really is.
Well, I'm very big into this now, and Monica and I just share with you real quick. If there's any questions, again, guys, please ask your questions. If they come in, I'll respond to you. We got a couple, like 5 minutes, but Monica and I did a tarot card reading last year in December. And at that time, not this past December, the previous December, at that time, we were going through a little bit of a struggle, not financially, but business wise, so, the People's Republic of California, when the bad guy got elected, the economy shut down. So literally like November, December, and January of 2016, going into 2017, the real estate market in SoCal just died. Like people were like, oh my God, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
So It was like a weird time for us. So when we had our tarot card reading, like both of us were kind of like, wow, what is going on? Because we didn't know. I mean, we figured Trump would be killed and then, it would be an unraveling.
Right.
Honestly, we didn't know. So when we had the tarot card reading, it was very, very profound because the woman that did the reading said that Monica was going to carry us all through 2017. And then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, all these great things were going to happen for me, and then it would shift to me. And I swear to God, Heidi, it was verbatim. Verbatim.
Yeah.
Happened.
Well,
So
I could tell
now know that stuff is seriously legit, and I'm ready. So I mean, me and Monica are going to be booking a session with you.
Yeah, I'll give you guys a reading. But seriously, and then sometimes when it's always dicey, like if you don't know your time, that's when I'll go to the rods. These rods are like, and we play around with them and we ask them crazy questions, but they never fail. Like, because if they don't want to answer a question, they just sit there. So, and they don't answer for me personally. If I ask them questions, they're like, don't even ask. So it's really interesting. So I'm really liking these things. Just for
so more questions are coming in. Do you look at things from past lives?
I can see your karma, like what you've struggled with and now kind of what you're here to fix. Yes, you can see that, but I don't do like past life hypnosis.
Yeah. No, you don't do regressions or anything. No. That's all like different stuff. So again, Lee Rudy says, if you go to your YouTube channel, 27, Jenny and you have like tons of stuff there already. And that Jenny also uses the tarot. Question, astrology hard to learn?
Yes, it is. But I think for the majority of people that are detectives, it's very easy to learn. It's like, because, when you have I learned I struggled learning, with anything besides criminal justice. Like that's the only thing I was good at. And that was my thing. But if you have to have like a good Mars, a good Mercury, usually to learn astrology well, but with YouTube and learning it that way, it's definitely a lot easier. There's tools, techniques. I did it hard. I bought the software first and I had to learn everything the hard way. But I listened to police scanners like throughout the day and listened to it with the transit. So I've learned it. I've kind of used my own twist on things of what I've learned throughout the years that I've been studying.
I would have loved for you to be in Vegas listening to the police scanner when that nonsense went on, dude.
Every time something happens, my scanner is on and like ready to roll. Like
that's awesome. So one other question. It's actually a really good question. So she's saying about reading with you. She goes, will it work if I do know my birthday, but I don't know the time or the exact location? She's adopted.
Yeah, it's just so hard. I can do it. It's just not going to be as accurate. Like I would probably use more tarot and stuff into a reading like that. I can give you a general gist, but not like, it's going to be, I'd say if you know your time, it's 100% accurate. If you don't know your time, I would say it's, 70, 60. I can do the best I can. There's no guarantee.
So Ada Nestor, thank you for your questions. You also had some really good comments in the thread. I read all of them. So you heard what she said. She's not going to give you the best job probably. She did ask another question follow-up. She goes, what about with the divining rods?
Yes, I can do. We do those live. You could ask any question you want.
Okay. So that will probably work better for her not knowing those other data points, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And another thing, if you don't know your birth certificate, so say the birth, it's not on your birth certificate. The reason it is because you do not have your original birth certificate. So what you have to do, you have to call the county that you were born in, go to their birth records, and literally you have to send them a notice and write on the note that you need your time for astrology. And you have to write that, or else they'll send you a new one without the time again.
Okay, guys, remember, Heidi, you can find Heidi at oneofakindbyheidi.org, her website. That's where you go to set up a reading with her. Also, highly encouraged to go to channel 27 on YouTube. She almost has 10,000 subscribers. We should be able to get her to 10,000 subscribers for this group now when they all get a chance to watch this again. So go and subscribe to her YouTube channel. Is there any final things you want to say?
No, I just want to thank you. And I'm saying this, that astrology's helped me so much. It really helps you find out who you are, what you're supposed to be doing in life, and set you on the right path. And I can say that it's changed my life literally. I don't even know where I would be if I didn't find astrology.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. And I'm a huge believer. And obviously, my wife and I are going to set up a reading with you. And I appreciate you coming on. This has been an amazing interview. Everybody said fantastic, perfect. Thank you so much. Amazing. So lots of people watching. So again, thank you so much, guys. We appreciate it. Remember, later today at 5 p.m., I'm going to be interviewing Robert Stanley. And I promise you, it is going to be absolutely next level because I have points set up. Robert is very, as you guys know, very weird. I mean, I shouldn't say weird. He's eccentric. So if he doesn't like you, he can send you on a roller coaster. So thankfully, him and I are very close, I think, now because he sends me all kinds of emails throughout the course of the day. And he's been kind of pushing me on a puzzle piece, like to prep me for this interview that he wants to do. So I'm letting you guys know it's going to be out of this world. So, and it's going to be a lot on this stuff that we talked about today, but even more specific to some of the things that he's like decoding. So again, guys, thank you so much. Heidi, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.